Yes, that's what's going on. Welcome back to another little weird episode thing we're gonna start. Basically, after each Premier League game week, I'm just gonna recap the weekend pretty much, and give my opinions on it, how I think people played, and how it's gonna pan out. And obviously, as it being the first game week, I don't think it's gonna represent how the league system plays out. But yeah, get into it now. So boys, we're gonna start obviously with the Friday night game, Liverpool versus Bournemouth. I don't have the the fundamentals for those fancy graphics that everyone else has, so stick to the basics with BBC. Obviously a 4-2 win for the champions, but I don't think they played well, but I think they're nowhere near their best. Obviously I think they looking through the stats, XG doesn't closer than the scoreline reads. Obviously, I think Liverpool deserve to win. However, defensively, they didn't look as well as people think, and I think you can see that with how the Community Shield planned out. Obviously, in 2 goals, Palace are a very good side, better than Bournemouth in my opinion. Definitely higher, but I don't think. This is, by the way, the Leeds-Everton game is 15 minutes in at the time of recording, so if I keep looking off, that game's on, and Leeds do look very good, to be fair, a lot better than Everton. Anyway, I think Liverpool, as a City fan, I think they're going to turn into a City. We always give teams chances, and we'll get on to what happened with Wolves in a few minutes, but I think they're going to turn into that. Kirkis and Frimpong, naturally, when you've got bombing, fullbacks bombing down the wing like that, and very high, just team position in general, you are going to get hit on the counter, and there are a lot of teams that do that, like Bournemouth, and I mean a lot of other teams like that. I'm sure Leeds are looking to play on the counter. You've got Tottenham now, with Thomas Frank in charge. Actually, Brentford are going to look to play on the counter. Wolves, all. The team are now, the Premier League has encouraged counter-attacking with the likes of, the difference between Big Six dominantly and, even Nottingham Forest did very well last season, very counter-attacking team. But they're going to get hurt on the break, and Semenya did that to them. Obviously, he was in my FPL. Honestly, I'm a genius. If you see anything to do with FPL, do let me know, because I would love to do that, and I am an FPL ultra. But yeah, and I had no Salah, and obviously in my FPL, when I saw Salah wasn't scoring when I was watching the game, Salah was doing nothing, and then classic Salah, 94th minute, gets a random loose ball through. It's standard, but I think Liverpool obviously are going to be in the shout for the title again, but I don't think it's going to be as clear cut as people make it out to be. And Bournemouth look very good, getting a 4-2 result. I mean, against the run of play. I mean, Liverpool clearly the more dominant side, had the better chances, most momentum, but at Bournemouth didn't look bad. The first half, it was quite even. Was quite even apart from the goal. Hang on. But a second half, Liverpool just ran away with it practically. I mean, Bournemouth, apart from their 2 goals, weren't really in it after the first half. But yeah, good start for the champions. Bournemouth are very underrated. Watch out for them. Have a serious shout for Europe, in my opinion. Obviously, they've lost a lot of players like Kirkes. However, I think it looked very good against Liverpool, and they've still got Senesi, and they brought in Diakite. Obviously, only been there like a week before the game he signed, and he didn't play. He played pretty well, if I must say, for my opinion. If someone came in a week before the first game of the season, like that, I'd be quite happy with that performance. Sorry. Right, moving on. Saturday, early kickoff. Obviously, 0-0. Quite a boring game again. I was watching this one as well. Conser red card kind of from that point on, I just thought nothing's gonna happen. Game, realistically, clearly, not like quite just blunt. I mean, first half was just dire. Both teams, not really anything going on. But however, second half was a lot more exciting. I think Isak, obviously, obviously people thought Isak would be a hit, and clearly he is. Newcastle struggled to score goals. Whether that was always going to happen, Villa surprised me a bit, but obviously getting that red card with half an hour or so to play is a big loss. And Contra as well is missing the next game. Who have they got next game? Villa, Brentford. I think Newcastle looked quite good. Obviously with Isak, that game probably would have been 2-0 Newcastle, most likely. However, yeah, Newcastle definitely need a striker. Gordon's adapted. He's doing his best, bless him, but he's not at the level. I don't think, yeah. Not much to really say on this one. It was just quite a dire game. Newcastle deserved to win, in my opinion. But it's one of them, you know. If either team wins, you're not going to be surprised. You feel Newcastle's always one of them games where you don't know who's going to win. I think a draw is a fair result, but I think Newcastle fans will be hard done by. Thanks for that. Right. Moving on. 3 o'clock kickoffs. What is this? No. Clear it off then. Right. Oh, nah, nice. And we froze. You have to bear with me. Right, we're back. 3 o'clock games. Brighton, Fulham. Again. One of them. It's either team could win. I mean, obviously I didn't watch any of the 3 o'clocks, but I've seen the highlights, and I thought Brighton were good for a 1-0. Until obviously the late Moon goal. Got to a point on the opening day. Brighton deserved to win, in my opinion. Nothing really other than that to say, to be honest. Rutter is probably better than Welbeck, obviously. Welbeck's what, 38 or something now, so it's always bound to happen. A pen though is a bit scummy in my opinion, but it is, I guess. Not much to say. It is a bit of an interesting one. New boys. I mean, I've always thought since came out on when they beat in the playoffs. Like Coventry. I always thought that they were going to stay up no matter what. How did the Dingman not get the assist if Ballard's got? Obviously, a poor West Ham side, I think they're in danger, massively in danger. But I think some were good for their win. West Ham clearly applying some pressure at the end, but Sunderland, obviously, Stadium of Light was electric, and again, on the counter, going to try and shock and stun teams. Again, apart from Diouf was unlucky, Ballard off the line. So yeah, clips off the line. Ballard got one for Diouf. That might have changed, you know, the whole complexion of the game. That was in the first half. But apart from Owen, they've sold Kudus. It's like they've not really signed anyone worth knowing. Oh, Callum Wilson, actually, really good player. Obviously now, what is he, 56, something like that. But yeah, West Ham look ropey. Graham Potter's not a good manager. We've seen it time and time again. He did well at Brentford, but obviously Brentford are a majestic club where anything can happen. And players for 300k who end up they sell for 50 million. So they're just in the balance. But I think Sunderland looked very, very good for a. I mean, last season I didn't think any team looked this good. I think Ipswich was the best bet. However, Sunderland look very good. Another new boy, Burnley, battered. Quite honest. Richarlison, who knew? Who knew Richarlison was going to be the Harry Kane replacement? Not, but yeah, I've got Solanke. But clearly, as you can see, Burnley had a bit of joy around the half an hour-ish mark, but Tottenham obviously both. And Thomas Frank is generational for them. Compared to Ange, I quite liked Ange as a manager. I thought he had his system and his ideas were good, but I don't think he had the players to execute what he wanted. However, I think Frank does. He signed Kudus, who's going to be his Bremen replacement, and he's looking at Eze and Savio for more replacements like that. Obviously, Eze is looking to be the sort of like Damsgaard, I'm assuming. Savio maybe the Wissa, and a bit like that. Obviously, got Solanke to come back. Solanke got what, 20 minutes, I'd say. Yeah, that's about it again for that. Tottenham do look very good though, and as a City fan next week, I'm still confident. Obviously, I'm going to get onto City now, but I won't be surprised again. Tottenham against City, they always find that way. 4-0 last season, I believe, at the Etihad. Right now, I can't stop thinking about this performance from my club. Obviously, the kid to be up there. I didn't think we'd be able to replace what he could do. I'm not saying we are, it's early doors, only one game, but Reinders and Ryan Cherky got what, 20 minutes probably max, 25, and with him we look so much more comfortable with the ball. He's happy just stands around, keep the ball. He's so confident on the ball, and that is what City have been missing over the last few years. With Mahrez, Sane, Sterling leaving the club over the past couple of years or so. Gundogan going past the peak. Bernardo's, he's much more system player now. Doesn't really have that ability to roam on the right side like he used to. De Bruyne, Roger was fully fit. Gundogan, we had many other options. However, Erling Haaland, dare I say, back to his best. He looked hungry. He looked like he wanted it. Other than last season, and again, it's just a case of whether he can stay fit. Haaland can stay fit. In my predictions that you can go and watch if you haven't already, spoilers here, I predicted that might be a hint of bias, but that was before this game. That was on Thursday night. I just think what I saw in the Club World Cup, it just looked good. Obviously, when I was at Al Hilal wasn't the best display against Al Hilal, but I saw the different systems Pep played. Ignoring the way he got used, 2 different systems again on FPL. I mean, he did quite well despite playing as a left centre half practically. Whether that is the versatility of the whole City side now. Rico Lewis, he's a what's the saying? A Swiss pocket knife, whatever it is, a Swiss Army knife. He can play practically in any format Pep wants him to. He can. The inverted is by far his best, evidently, as seen, especially in the first half. Rico Lewis was second to none, one of the best players on the football pitch. I think apart from Reinders, he probably was the best player on the pitch. And also very important, Nico Gonzalez. That is the best I've ever seen him play in a Man City shirt. And obviously, it's not the hardest of games. I have seen him play Real Madrid away at the Bernabeu. He still scored. That was his debut, I believe. But he didn't look all that. However, this game, I was like, I just thought maybe we signed him in January last season. That might have been, hopefully these 6 months gone and now ready for the new season. Hopefully that that pep tax where you've got to warm to the club and get to know how he plays. And obviously with Nico Gonzalez learning from the likes of Rodri and Bernardo, he's only going to get better, basically, isn't he? However, Reinders, I mean, what do I need to say about him? Watching him play brought a smile to my face. I actually get goosebumps talking about it. Watching him play was just wow. It reminded me of, you know, Yaya Toure for us, broke through any line he can, with or without the ball, he can find a way through. And obviously for the first goal, received the ball from deep, it did the little shimmy through a whack through the two midfielders, and then that lovely delicate pinged ball over to Rico Lewis. And that ball from Rico Lewis to Haaland, by the way, do not sleep on how difficult that ball is. He's looking over your head like that, over your head, and he's fizzed it completely, perfectly, across the perfect way to pass, perfect direction. It was just perfect, and how satisfying it was, just fizz across the carpet. And then Haaland does what Haaland does. Back post, tap it in. He's gonna have with Rangers in the team, he's just bound to score. Yeah, Rangers is fantastic. Oscar Bob back, honestly, he's so good. Such a miss last season, obviously with a ACL or leg break, whatever it was, I'm not quite sure, but he was missed a massive chunk, obviously injured last season's season. But yeah, Man City, I'm gonna stop saying we, but Man City just looked fantastic. Obviously, Wolves had a good little stint in the first half, and I was a bit worried. Before the couple of goals in a couple of minutes, and then nothing really happened second half apart from the goals. It was quite flat. We nowhere near had the same amount of possession. Pep won possession. With the fact that Haaland missed big chances in that game and yet still scored 2 is a joke. He is a force to be reckoned with. Obviously we knew that from the previous season. But James Trafford as well. Shout out to James Trafford. What a debut as well. I mean, everyone's sleeping on him because, you know, Rangers and Shirky and Haaland played so well, and Bob. But he was fantastic, Trafford. Obviously, that's what we've been missing. I think as a City fan, my opinion on it is we have missed a proper shot stopper. That is what James Trafford is, and he was also very good with the, you know, for Haaland's second and third goal. The ball over to Rangers, who Rangers brought down like it's nothing. That ball is fantastic as well. He looked very good, and there's only more to come on the City side. I think we're back to our best. Obviously, there's the hint of Savio going, but if Savio goes, I mean Rodrigo comes in, and that is just going to be. If we can manage to get Rodrigo, then I think that could be the title just above. Obviously Donnarumma as well, but I'm not sure after Trafford's performance. And I think Pep still likes the idea of keeping Ederson around. But yeah, moving on, the 2 PMs on a Sunday. Chelsea Palace. Palace were good for a draw, maybe even good for a win. I mean, Chelsea clearly the most dominant side. I kept flicking between this game and the Forest game. However, I kept looking at the Forest one because, you know, there's 4 goals in that one, none in this one. Bye. I think Chelsea obviously give players chances. I think Palace were hard done by for the free kick, because I just like, when was that a rule? Like, if they brought it in now, it's just a bit like, I just don't like that rule. A metre away from the wall. Obviously, if you're like pushing the wall, then that's not on. But he didn't affect the wall. He was battling with who it was, but he was battling with someone not even in the wall. I don't know how that's relevant. Yeah, I think other than that, it was quite even. Again, Palace just had that play on the counter. I think Palace have got more to come. However, they could lose some key assets. Guehi to Liverpool, perhaps. Everton to Tottenham. Maybe Arsenal, but I assume it's going to Tottenham. Yeah, again, nothing much to say. Parma looked quiet. João Pedro looked quiet. I had Parma in my FPL. I went against João Pedro in my FPL because, you know, I'm not a clown. The lap's going to play. You don't spend that much money on 2 strikers and only play one of them. That just doesn't happen. We'll feature that. Cheers, BB4. Anyway, yeah, I think Palace so far, you know, draw against Liverpool. Obviously got the win on penalties, but in my eyes, that's a draw. And and a draw against Chelsea, both not on the home ground, but again, Liverpool and Anfield, they get battered. Dare I say. Both over 2 PM. Oh wow. And James just missed it. I wouldn't say sitter, but that's a big chance. I'll have a look. I'll commentate this one here. Ball whipped in through the crowd. Oh, he didn't have time to react to me. I picked happy. Bombs out his net, but yeah. Forest looked very good. People doubting Chris Wood. You can't doubt someone who's got 20 goals last season. You know, you don't go from 20 to 5. That doesn't happen. I don't expect Chris Wood to do 20 again because I think Forest won't be as good. But I think definitely 15 and in between 10 and 15 goals. I think he will get. Obviously, them keeping Gibbs White is a massive achievement, and that is really good. And obviously, Elliot Anderson run the show. Not really much to say on that. Like he just dictated it. Obviously, that the assist was good as well. That pass was perfect. And Shannon Doyle, I've not seen much of him. Obviously, all I know is he had a team of the season, Syria, for Bologna last season. So I knew it's something about him. That's all I really knew. But yeah, he took his goal very well. Very good header. But Brentford again in trouble. I think the penalty was very lucky, and I don't know whether that's biased because I had Nico Williams in my fantasy again. So I was a bit hard done by that. They did a pen quite late. Hello. But yeah. Brentford did not look good. And what the hell was that from Pickford? He like palmed the ball out and he's gone like 20 meters away. Brentford didn't look good. It shows when your biggest chance, probably apart from the pen, was from a throw-in. That says something. Yeah, I don't think. Obviously, very makeshift Brentford side. No Wissers because you know the Newcastle stuff there. Bremo's gone, Thomas Frank's gone. Hollins could go to Liverpool because they're interested. Overall, just quite a makeshift side. Not really Premier League quality in my opinion. I think they'll do very well to stay up. I've got them going down. And again, I don't think Keith Hendricks he's set-piece coach last season for Brentford. A set-piece coach doesn't go from set-piece coach to manager. I don't see that happening. That's all. But Forest looked good. Brentford didn't. Scoreline. Right, now the half 4. I think Arsenal were lucky. I think Arsenal were very lucky to get away with a win here. United were the better team on a whole, and obviously Cunha and Bremer look good, and they're only going to get better when they play more together. I think Bruno, obviously, each game Bruno can't be the hero, but I think I thought Bruno could have been used by Amrin in a more impactful way. Clearly, if I look at towards the end of the game, Man United were dominating. Arsenal were just clinging on for the point practically. I think Amrin could have just naturally bumped up Mendes. He plays like a 3-4-3. All they have to do, in my opinion, was go 3-1, 3-3. Bump the fullbacks and Bruno up a bit, and just let Ugarte, or at the time it would have been Ugarte that came on. Just leave him to sit with the 3 at the back. Yeah, again, Arsenal set pieces. I actually don't know where I put them in my Prem predictions. I think I said they were coming second. I won't be surprised if I put them third. I just don't think. Obviously, if you want to be winning the league, you can't go to Man United, who have been 4 last season, first game back. I'm going to Old Trafford and basically win off a set piece. I don't think you're not going to win games like that against City and Liverpool, even like Crystal Palace and Newcastle. You're not going to win games like that. And United aren't on the old team either. I don't think. Mostly when Benjamin Sesko came on, obviously the height. overall does rise. But other than that, Delete Yarrow else is really that tall. So set pieces are always going to be an issue for United. However, against other teams, again, like Newcastle, you've got Dan Burn. He alone is probably bigger than no Arsenal team combined. I mean, Shaw's not small. Benali's not small. Gordon's not small. Yeah, and I just don't think that's going to work, to be honest. And especially against, you know, Liverpool, Ekatike, Van Dijk, Canate. Those Alisson's willing to come off crosses as well. But I don't think that's a good enough performance from Arsenal. That isn't them at the best though. Clearly, Gyökeres didn't really do much. Got brought off as well. Saka didn't look frightening. Martinelli just, you know, Martinelli doing absolutely nothing. Doing absolutely nothing. And now that just leaves this game. I mean, I might touch on this, you know, at the end of the game, but I don't think that this isn't really. I've not seen anything from Everton. Again, I think Everton are going to struggle. Obviously, Grealish is on the bench. Beto started up front. They've got Barry now. Shrewsbury looks okay, but it's all Leeds. And I know Everton slightly turn the counter and pressing, counter pressing, stuff like that. I don't think this is going to be sustainable. I don't think they're going to constantly get results like this. If they're struggling, if they're getting dominated by Leeds. I mean, they are defending quite well, to be fair, but they're going to crack eventually. It should bounce up by looking at this game. Coming up to half time now. Let's look at the lineups here actually. Obviously, Brantwaite is injured, hence Michael Keane start. But again, I don't think Leeds look particularly good. They're not changed much. Obviously, signed Goodmanson and the new keeper Parry signed Statch. But on the bench, they've signed Calvert-Lewin. He's not there. Sean Longstaff and Mecca, Ramazan. Like, they've signed that Bourne. They've signed loads of players that aren't even on the pitch. Whereas if you look at that Everton bench and Grealish, McNeil, Barry. Other than that, I'm not seeing much. I don't think. I'm gonna say I don't think the depth is good enough because, you know, they don't have any Europa League or anything, alright? Like, obviously. I think Pickford might win in this game actually. Played very well. I just think they're bound. Everton aren't bound to do well. Never really are. I don't think Moyes is a good enough manager to, you know, convince me. I mean, unless obviously second half Moyes gives him some David Goggins-esque team talk. I don't see Everton really getting a foot in the game. Half time's coming at a really good point for them though. That could help them. But an overall, I'll go on to the table now. Just an overall insight on how it's looking. I mean, Sunderland are on for Champions League football as it stands. But just an overall thing is, I mean, you can see, I think the table is starting already to take shape. You know, City, Tottenham, Liverpool, Forest, Arsenal all getting good results. And the bottom half of the table as well, Wolves, West Ham, Burnley, Brentford, Bournemouth, United. Kind of see who's top half, who's bottom half, kind of. Obviously, this Everton Leeds game is going to plan out, but this could easily be a 0-0. Easily be a 0-0, but it could easily also be a 1-0 Leeds. I don't see Everton really doing anything, but within DI, they could do something. I might have spoke too soon, actually. Never mind. Momentum slowed down by Donaghy there. That's really good for him. And that's half time. No added on minutes, and that's half time in the Monday Night Football. But the way I see this planning out is, I think the table's set already practically. Everyone you see in the top 10, no, top 11. From Palace above, I think that could easily, or politics out. This could easily be, you know, the top 10. Minus Sunderland, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the top 10. To be honest. Yeah, and again, first game, anything could happen. I was giving my mere evaluation. But as it stands, I think, if I had to give my Prem predictions based on that game, I'd go City, Liverpool, Tottenham, United, and something like that. Doing the rest of them. That's like my top 5, top 6. But yeah, that has been my little recap of basically my little recap of the game of Game Week 1. If you want to see any FPL stuff and if you want to definitely see more of this, you make sure to let me know. And if you want to see predictions or like just scorelines in general on who I think is going to be like play the match in each game for a weekend, you let me know because I'm willing to do that. But make sure to go click the links in the description. Go follow my Twitch and TikTok. This is currently being streamed live on Twitch. And make sure to like and subscribe if you have enjoyed. And let me know if you want to see more of this. And other than that, over and out.